lonely when you lived in a palace full of people. And in a way, they were right. We hadn't been lonely, not exactly, because we'd always had each other. How many times had we told each other as children that it didn't matter if our parents loved us, because we loved each other? Two halves of one whole. It didn't matter if we were weak on our own. As long as we had each other, we were strong. I drew a deep breath, almost shaking at the memory of how close I'd come to losing her, to facing it all alone. "I'm sorry, Lily." Sophie's apology came quickly. "I didn't mean to bring it back up. There's enough going on right now." I forced myself to smile. "Don't be silly. I'm fine. You're right. It was a long time ago. So many years ago, in fact, that many of the details had faded away. My mother had even recently assured me that I was remembering it all wrong, that Sophie had never actually been dangerously ill. A normal childhood sickness, she'd called it. But I knew better. While the facts might have disappeared, as early memories do, the emotions still burned clearly. I knew if I closed my eyes, I could bring them rushing back, as powerful as ever. Fear for Sophie, the certainty that no one saw the danger but me, and the utter terror of being left alone. But I couldn't afford to dwell on those emotions now. I was no longer either helpless or a child. Sophie and I would be 18 this summer, and I had spent years learning as much about healing as the palace doctors were willing to teach a princess. I had no time for clouded judgment. I needed all my wits about me, because we had finally arrived in this foreign land, and something was wrong. And for all she had laughed at me earlier, Sophie's next projection showed that she shared at least some of my concern. "Has it seemed to you like the closer we get to Marin, the more nervous the emissary has become?" I bit my lip. It doesn't quite fit with the idyllic picture he's been painting of his beloved duchy, does it? I noticed the slightest tremor in my sister's clasped hands and stepped to her side. "Do you think we should have let Father send more guards?" she asked. I shook my head almost imperceptibly. "No, Alyssa was right," I projected, referring to our brother's wife, a favourite with us both. "What would be the point? They have 6 kingdoms full of guards. If it comes to a fight, we wouldn't have a chance." "But it won't come to a fight." Sophie's answering smile seemed more genuine than her previous attempt. "The emissary has made it clear Marin wants a trade alliance with Arcadia. They wouldn't do anything to endanger our new ties." Sophie sounded confident now, her tremble gone. My soft-hearted sister was brave and determined. She sometimes just needed to be reminded of it. A service I was always on hand to perform. Just as she was always around to remind me that I wasn't responsible for everything. Celine sidled up to us. "Is anyone else getting a bit of an odd feeling?" "Absolutely." I didn't take my eyes off the people waiting on the dock. The sailors had nearly finished securing our vessel, and the emissary had already stepped off to consult with the newcomers. "Sounds like an adventure to me." Celine bounced a little on her toes. "It has to be better than 4 weeks at sea, at any rate." Sophie grinned at our friend. "It's a relief to see land again, isn't it?" I listened with only half an ear to their comments on the unpleasantness of being cooped up for so long on a moving ship. The emissary was now involved in some sort of heated dispute with the committee on the dock, and he looked increasingly unhappy about it. The emissary had led the deputation from Marin that arrived unexpectedly in our kingdom of Arcadia. He had requested that an Arcadian delegation return with him to his home. When he heard Sophie and I were considering accompanying him, he had given personal assurances to our parents of our safety in his land. I found it unnerving to see him so quickly discomposed upon our arrival. Perhaps we had been foolish to put our trust in his authority. But the chance had seemed too good to miss. Old stories held that inhabitable lands existed beyond the 4 kingdoms.